Well, good morning to you, and thanks for joining us here on this Wednesday morning. I'm John Mayer.
And I'm Lily Taylor. It is October 1st. The weather is kind of right on track with spooky season.
It feels like October out there, absolutely. The combination of rain, winds, cooler temperatures. We got a little everything. Briana Chavez, of course, keeping track of it all for us right now. And yeah, how could we forget the spookiest weather condition of all, right, Briana?
It's also, you guys know what day it is?
Oh, here we go.
It's hump day!
Absolutely.
October 1st, it feels like fall. We are getting over the hump of what could have been summer temperatures that we saw really throughout this time last week and over the last couple of weeks, quite frankly. But nonetheless, we are getting over the hump of what this wet weather brings on and off throughout that early morning commute. And visibility definitely going to be one of those. For portions of that I-5 corridor, you can run into some low-level clouds. The coastline, areas like Gold Beach, trending at 1.5 miles. Something to keep in mind when you guys head out the doors, especially if you are traveling to and from those coastal areas. The other thing is the possibility of a little bit more wet weather. Throughout areas yesterday, we saw just enough to really make an impact. Wet roadways for some, slowly expected to maybe dry on out, but nonetheless, we still see that push for some more moisture. Throughout the area for today, into the 50s we go, and we do get the chance for some slightly warmer conditions, but quite frankly, we don't really warm it up into some 70s or 80s. We keep the possibility of that wet weather making its return into the forecast. We'll break down just how long it's going to be sticking around as you head into the remainder of your work week.
LSB Live is sponsored by Alpha Towing and Recovery.
Well, as we continue to try to get over the hump of the wet weather, we are still keeping track of how those roads are shaping up. And that's exactly where our live shot buddy comes in. He's on I-5 where... There we go. Okay, there are vehicles going this direction. It seemed like nothing. He's over by the Wilkins Road overpass, looking southbound there. Where, yeah, so far so good. I clearly not a whole lot of traffic, as you can just see there on the roadways. But also over on Trip Check, we're just not seeing much that's developing to cause any major delays. No big accidents or anything to report. We'll continue to keep track of how that develops for you and bring you any updates on things you'll need to know before you head out the door throughout the rest of the morning. Well, it is now official. The federal government shut down. Both parties now blaming one another. All happened at midnight Eastern time last night after the president and Congress unable to come to a deal on a funding plan. Democrats fighting to keep Obamacare subsidies from expiring so millions of people would not see their insurance premiums spike, while Republicans refusing to negotiate on the issue. Leaders saying that they can talk about health care issues separate from those talks to keep the government open.
I really hope that some of them will join us to reopen the government, resume bipartisan appropriations work, and get back to the business of the American people.
Data shows that that's one of the most important things to the American people. So we want to sit down and negotiate, but the Republicans can't do it in their partisan way.
More votes designed to try to fund the federal government are expected to come down later today. Now, with the government shutdown, we are expecting a big impact, though you'll still be able to receive many of your basic services. You'll still receive your mail, Social Security payments still going out, Medicare recipients still able to see doctors, and healthcare providers will still be reimbursed. Veterans will still be able to receive health care through the VA medical centers and get VA benefits, while the U.S. Department of Agriculture says those who receive food aid programs, things like SNAP and WIC, they'll still be able to use their benefits, quote, as funds allow. Now, we're also continuing our coverage of ongoing ICE protests up in Portland, continuing outside of that ICE facility.
This is a live look at the scene now. As you can see, not much going on, but tensions did rise last night. At least 4 protesters arrested by Border Patrol agents.
Yeah, Victor Park from our Portland sister station was on scene last night, sharing with us exactly what happened.
The protest outside the ICE facility in South Portland escalating Tuesday night. Video shows Border Patrol agents clearing the driveway for a vehicle. Those agents then standing face to face with protesters. Then one officer pulls a protester to the ground. Seconds later, 2 people are carried by those ICE agents. Earlier in the evening, a man stood in the driveway of the ICE facility. Protesters yelled at him to back off, but the man refused, and moments later, agents chased him before backing off. Well, protesters tell us the man was not part of their group and that they have no idea who he is.
We kept our eye on him because safety of everybody out here, not just us, is one of the top priorities. And I just don't want anybody who saw that clip to go ahead and look at that and be like, this is what they're doing, because that's not.
All this happening during the fourth night of protests outside the ICE building, many angry over President Trump's decision to deploy National Guard troops to the city.
I would love to say that it would make things better, but based off of the actions of the people inside without supervision.
Well, it's unclear exactly what charges, if any, those protesters will be facing. We did reach out to ICE, though we have yet to hear back. Now, National Guard troops could arrive in Portland as early as tomorrow. President Trump authorizing those troops to remain in the city for 60 days, and any extended presence in Portland would then require further congressional approval.
This is your moment to do something different.
And anti-ICE protests continued on Tuesday at the federal building in downtown Eugene. These protests have been ongoing every Tuesday since June. Protesters telling us that's when most immigration check-ins happen for those living in our area. Members of the Oregon for All Coalition, a group dedicated to supporting immigrants in our state, say that they're there to provide assistance and legal help if needed.
Immigrant Oregonians are a vital part of what makes Oregon, Oregon. And lucky for us, we have organizations all across the state. We have attorneys all across the state that can mobilize very quickly to make sure that these immigrant Oregonians have the support they need to be able to get home safely to their families.
Protests around the building have been mostly quiet up until last week when Portland protesters made their way down to Eugene to join in. That's when 3 protesters were cited by federal officials, while 2 people were arrested by Eugene police. Lane County Commissioner Heather Buck was getting a tour of the downtown federal building as the protests were occurring.
We have not gotten any information from ICE on their activities here locally. They usually don't necessarily interact with us at the county facilities because we do live in a sanctuary state and we abide by those requirements. So in order for us to learn more about what they're doing, we actually have to come over here and see for ourselves.
Buck added that she's concerned about National Guard deployments in Portland, and when asked about a possible deployment in Eugene, she said she doesn't see a reason for it.
Well, time right now, 6:09, and up next, Turning Point USA returning to Utah for its college tour following the death of its founder, Charlie Kirk. We'll hear what message the organization now sharing with their supporters.